and welcome in this tutorial of Maya. So today we're gonna do a little modelization just to practice what we review in the second video about the modeling tool in Maya. So modelization is a good starting point when you start your 3D journey because it's gonna be something you're gonna always use in 3D. So if you know to create object from scratch, it's gonna be a very good starting point to start every kind of project. So first of all, we want to set the project in an area we want to work on. So for me, I have this scene here I set called Maya Scene Tutorial. So when you set the project, you go in like File, Set Project, and you set a place. What's gonna happen? It's gonna create a configuration of folders where you can put your files on, and you're gonna automatically create specific names and locations for your datas. So that's a very good starting point. So we can save straight on and put the name. We're gonna put lipstick. So I took a very classic reference of a lipstick. So I want to create a reference here like this. Not a reference, image reference. So it's called a free image plane. So it's basically an image we're gonna have in the viewport with a specific parameter specifically for references of artwork. So I was in Google and I just tapped lipstick and I took this lipstick image. So from this lipstick here we have this image here, so I can put the image on the Discord here, and we open and we have now an image plane with the reference inside. So if we want, we can put this in the center of the universe. So let's put here at 0, rotate from -90°. So we have something like this. So we can play with the grid to model our object. So I want to go on the top view. So we can click here and be on top. We can also press space and have the multiple views, and we can go in the top view. Going in the top view gonna allow us to don't rotate and be only capable of translation. So that's a pretty good limitation because you're never gonna move and change the view, so you're still always in this top view. So now what we want to create is a cylinder base, and we're gonna separate the cylinder into 3 levels and another level for this one and a cap for this one. So we're gonna have 2 cylinders, one with a bunch of extrude and one with just the cap. So let's create that. Let's go in polygons, go in cylinder here, and we can see on the top view the cylinder. We're gonna put it like this and put a -90° rotation, and we're gonna go on the cylinder himself and make sure we have less subdivision axis. We want to have, let's say, 8. So why 8? 8 is basically the exact number of polygons you want to have a very nice cylinder sphere like this. You see, when you press 3 on the numpad, I can see quickly the display smoothness, so it's 3 on your numpad, and you can translate from the geometry himself and the smooth preview geometry. So the level of 8 for cylinder is pretty good. It's a good base because you can as well like work on it to do specific stuff. So I always feel this level is good for work on. So we're gonna back to the top view, so we can't move, and I'm gonna put this on the bottom of the geo. Scale down, so I use W for translation and R for scale, like this. So we want this to just for the scale reference because this image on the background have angle, so it's not especially super flat, but it's gonna be enough for us to work on. So we are here. What we can do is put the geo on like this. So this here, the white wireframe, it means we don't see the smooth, the shader, we see only the lines. And that's pretty handy because we just want to work with the line right now. So we are here and we want to be working on the vertex. So I'm gonna select the vertex, put them exactly at the line here. So this is gonna be our first layer of geometry. And from here, what I want now is to do a cut, a loop. So I'm gonna do an edge loop, and I'm gonna put the edge loop very close to here, so I can select again the vertex on the top and go up to the second fall. And here what we have is we have this first line joining here. So there is many ways to do that. We can extrude the face on the bottom, we can add geos, there is many ways to do this kind of manipulation, but what we want now is just have the good amount of detail. So here what we want a little bevel of the inside. So as we said last time, we have an option for that called the bevel here, and you're gonna create a multiple layer on the stuff. What we want is something with 3 subdivisions. So we have very close, so as you see 0.1 is that close, so we're gonna go to 0.02, and we have here now this other line inside, giving us a good amount of data to create this little sharpness inside. So there is multiple way to do that. We can select all the vertex here and do air and scale inside. So that means what? That means if I go to the perspective view and I re-put the shading perspective, we have a cylinder here. So we selected those faces and we're gonna just go slightly inside. So what happened is like this slightly inside gonna create a constraint for us to have the details on the stuff here. So what happened when I press 3? I'm like, oh, here is not constrained and here too. So you're gonna need another level of, let's go to the insert edge loop. So here you can see when I'm on the 3 preview geometry, so when I'm switching from here to here, I really want you to understand that I'm looking on my keyboard between 1 and 3. So this is the 2 stuff to change, okay, on the numpad. When you go to 3, you can see the wireframe here, and you can see the geometry itself. So we're gonna put edge the really close from the border, and you're gonna see it's gonna constrain the mesh, you see. So here we can see it's going flat, and because we add here, it's gonna going like this. Same here, very close. And now when we remove, we can see we have this little line here, very smooth, very clean. So when I'm in 1, I'll just see something more rough. But what we want low geometry polygon to work with. So this is a good one. And when we can press 3, we see is exactly matching the reference. So that's pretty good. We're gonna come back to the top view. And from the top view, we're gonna do the same as we did before, adding another level of geometry. So we are here, we want to go up, we want to see behind, to see the reference, and what we see is there is another level here, going here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back and we're gonna go to the top view here, and we're gonna extrude from those faces. So we're gonna go there, go on face, select all the faces of the top of the cylinder. So if I put on shading view, is like selecting like this, and I'm gonna go space, edit mesh, extrude, or Control E. And now I have this coming. I want slightly up, but also I want this to be slightly in. So I'm gonna come back from the top view and see how much in I want this geometry to be. So let's say first I want to come back to the extrude here, and I want to be sure it's going here, and after from here we're gonna re-extrude. So basically I select the faces. Maybe I was a bit confusing here. Let's redo it again. I select the faces with shift click to multiple faces. I press Ctrl E once, so I have this layer of extrude I can see here, and now I'm gonna press again to have elevation. So you can see I have now two levels of geometry. If I go on the top view and I repeat the wireframe mode, I can adjust this. So here we can see we are quite okay, and we maybe want a bit of offset in the first here. So we're gonna go in the edge, select those edge loop, and just do a slightly opening. So if you look on the wireframe mode, we can see there is like a little elevation here going to this. So this is pretty good. We want to redo this action again. We are on the faces here. If you don't, you just reselect them. Press again Ctrl E or extrude. R for the scale. Scale down to just have the connection with it here. And Ctrl E again. And this one we want to go all the way up. You see, and here we are kind of the best geometry of what we need. If I press 3, I can see this little here is pretty good, but we want to constrain a bit more the geometry. So we go into our insert mesh tool and we check here. We have a bit of constraint here, a bit of constraint here as well. On the top we want to have some constraint here, and we see we are now having a very nice edge here and a very nice edge here, and we want to continue this process. So we are here on the top, and now we know this is gonna go inside and up, right? So we want to make sure we have something external of this. So we're gonna make a hole. We're gonna go in the object mode here, select the faces. So when you see the arrow like this, is still in the edge loop mode. So I'm just gonna go in selection here to make sure I'm back in selection mode. So always click here if you're not sure what you're doing. So you go in selection mode, and it's like the basic mode. So here on the face, you select the faces like this, and Control E. No Control E. We're gonna erase this. Oh yeah, no, Control E. We're gonna do a little inside offset just to connect to the pink, a bit bigger, and we're gonna delete those faces. So why we're gonna delete those faces? Because we want to create another cylinder doing the pink stuff. So I'm gonna create a cylinder here, put it again inside. So what we did is a 90 degree, a minus 90 in the X, scale down, put this as a 8 axis, and move this on the side, up. So we want this to be at the same as the order. So we're gonna just make sure we are mathematically correct. So what we want to do is we're gonna snap this point to this point. So we're sure we are exactly on the middle. How do we snap? We have all those tools here with the magnet tools. So snap to grid, snap to curve, snap to point, snap to point, or make the selected object live. What we want is we just want to snap to point because this point is gonna be good. So we press snap to point. Now we can see it's like a circle here, and when we're gonna move it, you see it's gonna automatically snap from the vertex of the other geometry, and that's good because it allows us to have a good symmetry. So that's what we want here. We're gonna unselect this and back to the square mode. It means it's like moving from we want. Control Z. So we are on the exact middle of this point, you see, but when I press the shading view, is floating on the middle. So we want this to be exactly inside. We're gonna go here on the right view, top view, and we're gonna make sure is inside the polygon. So now we're just gonna increase this to touch the cavities around, just enough to touch it, make it a bit taller, and we want to have this shape coming down. So we're gonna take the vertex like this, all the top one. So we're gonna go in the top view and remove the wire here. So we are on the top, and we want to gonna press E, take the yellow and do an offset like this. So basically I'm taking all the vertex of the top and doing an offset on the bottom like this. So this is gonna allows us to have, let me put this again, this kind of shape, you see, really good. So we want this for our work, but now we can see it's a bit stress and scratch, so we're just gonna adjust this, connecting like this, but not getting out of here. And after, if we want, we can add another edge loop, because if we press 3, it's gonna be a bit raw. So we're gonna press space, insert edge loop, connect here, connect on the bottom. So when we press 3, we have something touching here. You see like a very good here. So it can be a bit sharp. So maybe we want to just take those vertices here and make them a bit down. So it allows us to have something less sharp on the application. Okay, so this is pretty good. Now we're just gonna apply some colors, so just for us to know how to do it. So we are here, we're gonna press space, right click and do insert, assign new material and put a blend, and this blend we're gonna put it black. Okay, like this, and this we're gonna do the same, assign material, blend, and we're gonna put it pink. Okay, it's okay if we don't match the reference, it's just for us to have a point of repair. And after, we want to have this little cap on the top. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create another cylinder, put this on 8 axis like the other, do a rotation of -90, put this, snap it on the middle of this point, So we are here and we do a snap to point here, so it's exactly at the middle. Put back the shading mode and now translate up. We're moving this, slide up, and we want just to marry the so we're gonna say it says just to marry this part here. Okay, so maybe a bit down here. Okay, and we're gonna put this. So same, press 3, you're gonna see is not matching exactly, so we need some extra edge loops. So edge loop here, edge loop here, and now when we press 3 we have something matching this. Maybe we want to add the edge loop very close, very close. Bit bigger. Up. And we have the cap. So this is gonna be the geometry on top. So we can put this as a white shader. New material, blend, and white shader here, like so color and white. So this is in the attribute editor. You're gonna have the shader at the very end of the attribute. Now we want to remove all the stuff we did. If we look here, we have all the poly twig, split ring, bevel, twig and stuff, and this is what we call a geometry in progress. So we're gonna just clean this, just to learn how to clean our work. We go into modify, select, yes, select hierarchy, no, modify, yeah. Edit, delete all by type, history. Again here, so we can press G, and on the other one. So we are sure we have no more history on this. We can name it here the bottom. This part is the top. And if we hide the top, we have this, and we can say it's the lipstick. Okay. I just put mod, so we know it's a modelization. And for the image plane, we call reference. That's it. We have now a very clean geometry based on our references, and we can have multiple type of details. And when we press 3, we have the good look of what we want in the geo. We can hide the reference and see our work here as a proper lipstick. Well done everyone, and if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. This is a very short one just to introduce you to modeling, and we can talk in the next video. Thank you everyone.